Hi, I'm Jer. I am a content creator and professional makeup artist for the last almost 15 years. We're going to go through a little trip down memory lane with some of my most used palettes that I found in the back of the drawers of my makeup room. This first one isn't too early of a throwback, but the Amrezy palette from Anastasia, this is the second Amrezy palette. I do have the first one as well, but when this palette dropped, I swear to you, it changed me as a person. At the time I worked at Ulta and I was telling everyone about this palette. I was showing it to everyone. I bought, I think, probably 2 or 3 of them. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous assortment of neutrals and pinks and a couple pops of color. I love Amrezy. Amra, if you are watching this, which I doubt you are, thank you so much for this palette. Something else I got a ton of use out of, this is so dusty, so please do not mind, the Melt Cosmetics stacks. I remember Melt Cosmetics was having a sale when I was in beauty school and I was getting ready to treat myself for finally going to beauty school, and I bought so many of their stacks, and then I got the magnetic case for them. I remember when these came out, the huge thing about them was their innovative packaging. This is what the palette looks like. This is the, I think it was the Rust stack. It's the Rust stack. So when it came through, you had your topper here, which was your mirror, your lightest shade, then you had a deeper shade, then you had a deeper shade, so on and so forth. I was obsessed with these. I bought all of the stacks they had until they started doing the split pan ones, and I used these a lot when I was traveling, but then I had 2 of them get broken when I was traveling, so I bought their magnetic cases. And this was a really cool idea because you could take the palette you already had and give it a protective package so you didn't have them continue to break in transit. Blend Bunny is one of my favorite eyeshadow brands ever. Recently I've been using a ton of the Ellis palette, but the palette that really kind of took everything next level for me was Blends. You can see she's been through hell and back. I have made some serious dents in a couple of these. The white is almost empty because I've hit so much pan on it. This is probably one of my most used palettes to date. Just a gorgeous formula, amazing, amazing product quality, beautiful color choices. I think at this point I own all of Blend Bunny's palettes except maybe 1 or 2. And that's never gonna change. I'm gonna continue purchasing them. If you've watched me for any period of time, you know I am no stranger to a blue eyeshadow. I love a blue eyeshadow look, case in point. Palette that I got that kind of first ignited my love of blue eyeshadow was the Huda Beauty Sapphire Obsessions palette. When Huda started these 9-pan palettes, I used to dream of the day that I was able to own them all, because at the time I was working minimum wage. I didn't have a ton of money. I didn't have a Sephora near me, and I got one of these online for my birthday, and I was so excited. I used the hell out of this palette. I love Huda Beauty's formula. I'm thankful that now in my career, I'm on Huda Beauty's PR list sometimes, and I'm able to receive them, but beautiful formula. Huda, I know you are in your neutrals, you are in your rosies, you are in your pinkies. I think if we did an all brights palette or kind of went back into some of these fun color schemes, it'd really pay off. Let's talk about the collaboration that broke the internet. I don't have my original Jaclyn Hill palette anymore, but my original Jaclyn Hill Volume 1 palette, I had hit pan on probably half of that palette and used the hell out of it. When this one dropped, the Jaclyn Hill Morphe 2 palette, I also worked at Ulta. I used this like nobody's business. These reds and pinks I abused. I was able to keep a little bit better care of this palette than the first one, but this truly was everything. I used to remember I always wanted to recreate this look that Jaclyn had on the back of the palette, and something about just the way her eyes looked always was so enticing to me. And I never did it. So if you want to see a tutorial with this, is it probably 10 years expired, 8 years expired? Sure, but maybe I'll use it. This next palette I can thank Nicole Concilio for, because Nicole Concilio was one of the first people I ever saw use Violet Voss palettes, and then I had a friend that I had worked with that had also used Violet Voss, and I was really intrigued in buying some of their stuff, so I started buying smaller Violet Voss palettes, their highlighters, a couple pairs of lashes, and then I found this. This is the Violet Voss Pro Ride or Die palette. This palette is ginormous. The packaging is stunning gorgeous. I want you to wait till you see this, because when I saw this online and ordered this in the mail, this palette is bigger than my big ass bald head. each shade in here has its own reason to be in the palette. It all makes sense. There's a huge selection of metallics, shimmers, mattes, any blending and transitional color. This is insane. I used this for probably an entire summer one year because I was just so excited about how many color options there were. And I'm pretty sure this palette was like $70 or something, which at the time was like unheard of for me. But this palette and this formula was truly game-changing in my like 2015, 2016 makeup era. Speaking of older makeup eras, let's talk P. Louise Secret Sinner. If you know P. Louise at all, if you've ever seen P. Louise makeup, you know that they do these gorgeous, pigmented, insane, intense eye looks. I remember the first time I ordered from P. Louise, it was maybe 2018, 2019, which doesn't feel like that long ago, but also feels like truly an entire lifetime ago. And I remember I had ordered right after the Secret Sinner collection came out, and I ordered a handful of the bases, and then I ordered this palette because I saw this palette everywhere on Instagram. I was like enamored by this packaging. I was like, oh my God, there's feathers inside. That's crazy. And then I used this palette so much. I think the first time I ever used this, I did this like really deep sunset smoky eye, and then I just continued to do that same makeup look over and over. I'll reference it here. It was during my interesting self-tanner, spray tan era. But this really was like my introduction to P. Louise. Of course, I'd seen the base. Of course, I'd seen the crazy techniques before they'd opened the school. And, you know, I had followed P. Louise for a while. And then when she started coming out with product, I was really intrigued. And then when this came out, something about it just really captured me. I ordered this and then all of my products came. I remember this vividly. My P. Louise order, this palette, a couple bases, and I think it was just this palette and a couple bases. It came in this like black, it almost looked like a garbage bag. It was insane. And it had a hole in it, and I had to like go through and manually count the inventory on it. And I did an unboxing on Instagram, on my Instagram story, and was like, isn't it crazy that it came in this like black trash bag that went through customs? And people were like, yeah, it probably shouldn't have looked like that. And I wish I could find the video. I'm gonna search for it. Those are a look back at some of my eyeshadow palettes through the years. Genuinely, I have so much makeup that I could probably do a series on this for the rest of my life. So if you want to see any other products in like a product graveyard or things that I just have on hand and kind of show you through that piece, you know, I do call myself like an Instagram makeup historian. I almost have an archive of Instagram makeup. Let me know. Love you so much.